Mr. President, the talk of the debt in our nation has been diminishing. Unfortunately, debt itself has not also diminished. While the deficit has reduced significantly in the last several years, the debt continues to grow, now crossing well over $19 trillion. And it is my concern that we as a body continue to get distracted with other things and lose track of the looming debt issues that we will still continue to face and we will be held to account for, and rightfully so. The American people expect us to come here and solve a lot of issues. Solve not only issues of how we're going to handle crisis areas like Zika and what we're going to handle in different areas around the country, what we're going to do with national defense and security. There's an expectation that we'll be able to do multiple things, but over all of that, there's an expectation that we will balance the nation's checkbook and find a way to be able to solve these issues. I don't think it's an unreasonable request. When we cross over $19 trillion, at what point do we as a body decide this is enough and we need to actually work together to be able to actually solve the issues that we face? The Congressional Budget Office continues to challenge us and to tell us that this is an unsustainable pace, and the nation as a whole continue to push back. I think we should pay attention to it. I want to speak briefly today and to be able to thank Gene Dodaro and the good folks from the Government Accountability Office for putting out their latest report on what they define as opportunities to reduce fragmentation, overlap, duplication, and achieve other financial benefits. It's the report that GAO puts out every year that often we call just the duplication report. Here are the problems, here are the unresolved issues. Last year, I asked Gene Dodaro and GAO specifically to break it up and to make it very, very clear, not just to say where is it in government, but whose responsibility is it? Who can actually fix this? And they broke it up this year into two different segments, basically saying this is the administration and the agencies. They already have the authority to fix this, and these are issues they face. And he also identified 63 areas that specifically only Congress could fix. It is a to-do list for us of things that we need to either vote on and discuss, or we need to disagree with GAO and to be able to push back on, but we shouldn't just ignore and to say we're going to do nothing on it. While we deal with this every single year for the last several years, we all face the duplication, we all hear the stories about it. My challenge is, how do we actually bring this to this floor, vote on it, solve it, and move forward from here, and leave some things actually addressed? Part of the issue that we face every year with duplication is that duplication is buried into the governmental system. And it takes a GAO report to be able to pull it out. I proposed a bill for several years now, did it in the House, brought it over to the Senate, called the Taxpayers' Right to Know. The Taxpayers' Right to Know has already passed the House this year and has not cleared the Senate yet. The Taxpayers' Right to Know is a very clear transparency piece. It just says, shouldn't we have a list of every program in the federal government, how much we spend on that program, how many staff are committed to it, what that program does, and specifically how it's evaluated. It's a very straightforward transparency piece. Everyone in this body continues to talk about duplication and to say we should do something about it. GAO highlights it to us, but the challenge is you can't easily identify it until you do this very deep search on it. I think we should be able to have a level of transparency that you can see from one program to another, where is the duplication, and we can all address it and talk about it. Yesterday in the Indian Affairs hearing, we were doing a markup. And in that markup, the conversation was about several programs that seemed to be very good ideas, serving Indian country. The problem is many of them already exist in another agency, and they're already done by that agency not very well. And so the challenge is, can we get rid of it in another agency, not just start it in a second, third, or fourth agency, and continue to say it's not working over there, so let's just do it somewhere else. The issue when I bring it up every time is we don't know what agency it exists in. The Taxpayers' Right to Know is a very simple list that should be searchable, that should be public, that everyone can see it. It's being held up currently right now, back and forth, in this ongoing conversation about something as simple as how many programs should you see? OMB has pushed back on us and has said, well, we'll have program transparency, but only for the biggest programs. We've said basically if you spend $1 million on this program, then you should have transparency. And they say, no, let's do a much higher number. Let's do maybe 10 million or more. So we asked Gene Dodaro yesterday, if we drop this number from 10 million to 1 million, how many programs will go away? And he said it's in the thousands. Then we're at the same spot. We can't eliminate duplication you can't see. To quote the famous philosopher Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, the hands can't hit what the eyes can't see. We as a body spend a lot of our time saying, I'd love to get rid of duplication, we can't see it. Let's actually expose it. Let's get it out there and so everyone can see it and we can clear this. Let's just solve this very simple issue. Let's make it transparent. And then let's work together. Senator Tester and I had a great conversation after the Indian Affairs hearing yesterday, agreeing together that we're going to look for areas of duplication in Indian country. We're not looking for more programs. We're looking for the programs that actually work and actually make those actually accomplish what they should accomplish. And things that don't work, eliminate them. Take that money from one area, put it to the area where it actually does work. Because at the end of the day, we have got to get back to balance. We can't keep funding programs that don't work and that are duplicative. And we should be able to accomplish this together. Last year, I put out a report called Federal Fumbles, 100 Ways the Federal Government's Dropped the Ball. 2/3 of that book identified duplication and waste in government. Some of those we've made some progress on this year already. We have multiples to go. The key is that we actually get busy working on it instead of just talking about it. Gene Dodaro yesterday from the GAO also mentioned a bill that Ben Sass has called the New Hire Database piece. I think it's a very good bill. Glad to be supportive of what he's trying to accomplish there. Senator Sass is trying to do one thing to be able to say, when we actually do means-tested programs, we should be able to see the employment records. That should be a very open thing on that for those that are within the means-tested program. But right now, GAO and other groups do not have access to the new hires database, and so there's no way to be able to see if the means-tested programs are going to people, and people self-report income, and there's no way to be able to verify that. When we can actually verify that, shouldn't we? It's a straightforward solution. In a day and a time when they continue to bring up obvious things year after year, like the same person can be eligible for disability insurance and unemployment insurance at the same time, and actually receive unemployment benefits and disability benefits simultaneously. Disability benefits, by definition, means you cannot work anywhere in the economy. That's why you get disability benefits. Unemployment benefits, by definition, means you can work in the economy, but you're currently not employed. Why should you be eligible for both? GAO has brought that up to us. That's not a partisan issue. That should be a solvable issue, and it's billions of dollars. It's one of the things that we've got to be able to work on together to be able to actually bring some solutions to this. This is not too hard for us, and the American people expect us to get it done. So my only challenge is, let's actually get it done. With that, Mr. President, I'd yield back.